Hey folks, Phil Gallagher here for another round of daily D&T. Paired against Jez. I'll keep this hand. I rather like this hand. It's not necessarily going to be good against combo, but we have a very good set of cards if we're playing against something like a Delver deck or sort of like any sort of controlling or mid-rangey deck. Things that make me nervous. Bloodstained Mire, pass. That makes the list. So if this is Reanimator, I don't want to show Caracas yet. I think I just want to play Stoneforge and go for Batterskull here. And if it's not Reanimator, everything's great. Alright. We got a Stoneforge for Force and a Ponder. That's a trade that I like. Ooh, okay. So let's start this turn with Swords to Plowshares. That part's easy. If our opponent like forces again, we could just like do it again. And then I think I just want to play the Caracas as bait and see if I can get them to get rid of that. Although I think they're going to get rid of my port. Wasting the Wasteland is a fine play here. But it feels like taking them off red is probably going to be real good. Actually super happy about that draw because now I can play Tomic with Caracas backup. I wonder how badly my opponent is getting punished for their decision to fetch basic mountain. Wouldn't fault anyone for just getting Batterskull there, but I think I like the idea of just trying to draw a bunch of extra cards with Sword of Fire and Ice. Go, go, Gadget, Swords to Plowshares. I don't think I'm supposed to go for play and equip this turn. I think very clearly I'm supposed to tag that Volcanic Island while I have the opportunity to, and go for the equip next turn. So if the game ends in short order, I'm actually going to have a lot of trouble sideboarding against my opponent. Tomic is so good. So good. And now my opponent is going to like wasteland my Caracas and I'm going to get a total like free roll. So good. Rather than equip, I'm just going to play the Caracas and pass. I don't know if my opponent is like on another color and they also have something like Fatal Push. If yes, I don't really want to expose myself to it. Like, I kind of think my opponent's Blue-Red Delver, but Bloodstained Mire is a little weird. I should maybe assume that Bloodstained Mire is a 1-of land, and this is just Blue-Red Delver. So, like, if this is Blue-Red Delver, I want 5 cards. I want Path, Council's Judgment ×3, and I'll want to take out my Recruiter, a Crusader, both my Revokers, and the Jailer. Let's board assuming that it is Blue-Red Delver. I very much might be wrong here. My hand is great. Really wish this was a basic Plains, but like absolutely no way does this go back. I'll be leading on my Vial here. I think. The upside of the Vial resolving is so huge, and if it doesn't resolve, I just play a slower, grindier game. Nice. So this is going to be my priority for removal. Ooh, that's really interesting. I don't think I'm going to play it out here. Let's try to take that off the table. And that occurred. And then what I want to do with the Path to Exile is kind of interesting. Kind of want to do it in their upkeep. In response to the Delver trigger. It's a little weird. I guess I could do it after the Delver trigger. I could also just wait to not expose it to Daze, but waiting might expose it to to Spell Pierce instead. I think I'm going to go ahead and Path now. Like, if I get rid of a Daze now, and I open up the ability to actually, like, cast a piece of equipment safely later on, I think that's going to be useful. And if I take a Force for it, that's even better. I make my Thalia in hand worse by doing this. But I'm already... We'll see if this shuts off Giver of Runes or Aether Vial. I think it should shut off Aether Vial. But it's very dependent on what else my opponent has in hand. They haven't cantripped yet this game. There's one. Note, if your plan is to brainstorm, you should brainstorm first before casting that Pithing Needle, because you may find better uses of your mana or more efficient uses of your mana. Like, you have eliminated some of your options for the turn by casting that Pithing Needle first. So this needle changed my position from being amazing to being crap in the course of a single turn. My opponent has a removal spell. The next turn cycle for me really sucks. I think I need to operate under the assumption that they do not have a removal spell and play out this Thalia, hoping that I can slow them down substantially. If they don't have a removal spell, I can go for a double block on the Arcanist and get ahead in that capacity. Yep. Okay. They don't have a removal spell. Life is good. They are presumably going to look for a removal spell off of this. We'll be saying no to this in case we draw like Flicker Wisp. Spell Snare? Yes, I will use Stoneforge Mystic's ability. I think I'm going to go ahead and take the Batter Skull here. And I kind of just want to wasteland my opponent. It's going to make it so that I can't really play my my other Stoneforge Mystic around a Daze, if that's something that occurs. I'm real tired of these Delver decks having Caracas. It was a top with Preordain. Do I want to double block? If my opponent doesn't have a Lightning Bolt specifically, I trade Thalia for Arcanist, which is very good for me. If they do have Lightning Bolt, then they kill my Stoneforge and they get my Thalia for free. If they have Lightning Bolt, they'll kill Stoneforge anyway. So I think I'm fine with taking this trade and trying to have a batter skull on an empty board. Alright. I mean, I accept. I 100% knew that was a possibility going in. But the Thalia's days were numbered anyway. And I have a backup Stoneforge. That I can now play around days. Yeah. So if they have the second bolt here, I'm basically dead on the spot. Giver of Runes being different from Mother of Runes here. Very much mattering. Ugh. Alright. So I really like how I played this one. It's just not working out here. My opponent is still going to have this Batter Skull to worry about a few turns down the line. And, like, Sword plus literally any creature is a huge get. Well, I guess any creature but Thalia and Tomic. If we end up going to a game 3, I'm going to have to consider boarding out Tomics. All right. Make them do it. It's essentially the same as just porting them. Truth be told, I think they should leave it in play so that my Batter Skull costs 6 mana that they know about. But I'm sort of like doing a next level play of intentionally doing something that's bad for me in the hope that my opponent makes a mistake. Oh, good lord, okay. If I were to wait until I have 1 more mana, I could use this to, like, blink this and get an equip in, but I don't think I can wait. Like, because when I get the next mana, I need to be casting this Batter Skull. So now my opponent has more fuel for the Arcanist. I will try to trade the Wisp here for that thing. I don't know that it'll work. Seems like they're digging for a bolt. I also kind of have to assume that my opponent has some amount of other interaction at this point, and so like my Batter Skull is not necessarily safe to resolve. Alright, that's something. I don't think it's good enough. Like, I get rid of one of these, I still have 5 on board to deal with. 6 on board to deal with. Well, that was a beating. So, my opponent is probably playing 2 to 3 Caracas in the sideboard. So do I actually want to board out Tomic, even though Tomic flies over Young Pyromancer tokens and True Name Nemesis? Probably not. I probably need to just, like, play my 6 legendary creatures and accept that every once in a while they might be bad. I don't think I can keep a, like, non-Ether Vial 0 threat hand like this. I just see myself being overrun. I will be keeping this one, throwing back the Council's Judgment that I can't cast, and really hoping that this Vial resolves. I don't think I can win the game unless this Vial resolves. My opponent also has Pithing Needles, multiple Pithing Needles to worry about. So I might just like lose the game on the spot to that as well. That's fine. Delver, totally beatable. So we'll pass the turn here. We'll let the Delver trigger resolve and then port. Or we won't port. This is an extremely aggressive brainstorm, by the way. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just aggressive. And again, assuming that I can keep ticking up this vial safely, I'm feeling pretty good about everything else. But I just lose the game on the spot to Needle. We're still in the main phase. What are you gonna do? Sort of unfortunate timing on that draw there. So now I know my opponent has Lightning Bolt, so I'll tap down their mountain. They'll float a red. I'll go to my opponent's draw step. Then I'll activate this. Yes, Dahlia. Okay, they have another red source. So I think I just want to flicker out the Delver for turn, and then port the island. Don't want to port one of the red sources because I do know, well, they use the Lightning Bolt. I still don't want to give them the opportunity to Lightning Bolt one of my creatures. Or, sorry, my only creature. I'll give them the opportunity to brainstorm and upkeep instead. That's fine, I can still flicker that out. But a Plains would be real sweet right about now. Alright, so age-old trick. Activate. Yes. Flicker Wisp, my Flicker Wisp. Go to end step. Return Flicker Wisp. Now flicker out the thing I actually want to flicker. And that'll come back at their end step. I have a very tenuous hold on this game, which I don't really like. Even with drawing up Plains now, my draw might just be too slow. It's possible I needed to get greedier than I did here. And like just try to trade with it in combat. Yeah, there we go. Like luckily the Vial wasn't doing a lot right now anyway. I take this, I go to 11. If I draw Plains to Swords to Plowshares, the Arcanist, I'll take 6 followed by 6. I'll be on a 2-turn clock. How do I win? I guess I can't aggro out. I guess I need to trade, then draw a white source to answer the Arcanist. Alright. So now I'm going to get Giver of Runes plus Flicker Wisp. Am I supposed to take an attack here? I essentially trade 3 points of damage for 2 points of damage by taking the attack. I'm not really the aggressor. I would be happy trading the Pyromancer for the Flicker Wisp. My opponent's not going to make that attack. They'll just attack me for 1. I think I'm going to hold back. My opponent is low on resources, and I'm not. So I have a lot going for me if I can drag this game on. Well, that's very unfortunate. I would now like to draw another white source to play double Giver in a turn and clog up the board. 100% making that trade. Like, absolutely, unquestionably making that trade. I don't really understand that attack. I could have a real long talk about whether or not I should play Thalia or Giver there. Cards do very different things in that spot. That was the reason not to play Thalia. But the reasons to play Thalia involve like any string of cantrips. Alright, opponent. Here's your turn. Here's your chance. You don't know about this sword, so that's good for me. Is one of the cards left in their hand a braid? So I think I just want to build a board that is going to cause my opponent the greatest difficulty in pushing the final points of damage through. So that's why I'm going to play Giver here, rather than just go and like just jam the sword. What are you going to do with the white mana? I also literally have no plays on this board. So barring our opponent having a true name nemesis, I've probably stabilized this one. My opponent is going to time out by floating mana. I'm convinced. Yeah, that is not really a card that I care about on this board. Land would be such a fantastic draw. No. This gets pierced, unfortunately, with the way that I'm playing this, but I don't think I have much of a choice there. And I'm going to ram this out in case, like, by some weird phenomenon, we end up wanting to remove this. Braid. Sure. But that means the Batter Skull can be hard cast. Nice. I think I just want to plan on hard casting that Batter Skull in a turn or two. So let's just get rid of this. And a Braid. That's pretty good. So that means my Batter Skull is just a Braid bait. Awkward. That's fine. Tomek was very awkward anyway. My opponent has a Braid and Mystery card. Okay. So my opponent is giving up on the ability to answer Batter Skull. very awkwardly means that I'm dead to the next Delver attack, even if I could, like, draw the land for the Batter Skull. Alright, Giver not being mom here bit me in the butt, and I lose the game because of it. It's okay. Like, my opponent's sideboard is not built for me. It's really built for depths with like huge amounts of splash damage on me, like multiple Pithing Needles and presumably multiple Caracas here. Really, really sucked. GG. I'll be back tomorrow.